What's up, everyone? Welcome into the Cannonballs podcast. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Dane Cannon. Co-hosting with me today is...
Sorry, I just woke up. Sorry, I just woke up from that boring ass game. Your boy, Jake Mother Effing Bulls. Your boy, Jake Mother Effing Bulls on the mic 1-2. It is Monday night, folks. We are recording our episodes. We just got finished with Monday Night Football, the most boring game.
Fest. It was a snooze fest.
Is right.
Oh
Jeez
my gosh.
Louise, man.
Even though it was my team, I will undoubtedly admit that was one of the most boring games I've ever watched. It was inept on both sides of the offense. I mean, the first quarter looked promising for the Broncos, but we'll get into it. So, guys, we got a good episode for you today. We're going to recap Monday night, the Denver Broncos versus the Los Angeles Chargers. Jake and I, we're going to give our new power rankings after watching Monday night. And we're also going to do our Thursday night preview. So stay tuned for all of that. If you're not already, go ahead and give us a follow on our Instagram at cannonballs_podcast. You know, like, comment, subscribe, watch the first 5 minutes. Jake, did I miss anything?
Yeah, no, you got it all. You hit everything on the head, man. Let's get right into it. Let's do it.
Let's do it. So I'm going to take the helm on this one. You know, this was my team. It was hard to watch. Chargers were completely inept on offense. I think that's a testament to how good this Denver defense is, which is completely overshadowed by how poor their offense is. Denver looked great in the first quarter. You know, Russell Wilson was completing passes. The Chargers defense looked like completely inept. They looked terrible. They were giving up the big play. I was like, oh my God, here we go again. And then right after the first quarter, Chargers defense stepped up. Denver's offense went completely flaccid. They couldn't do anything. It was terrible. You know, this Denver offense should be better than it is. Russell Wilson should be better than he is. He went 10 for 10 in the first quarter. He threw for like 150 yards, and then after that completely went blank. This Chargers defense shut him down. Nathaniel Hackett had no answers. He had no responses, but it didn't matter because the Chargers couldn't do anything on offense either, and then they still ended up winning this game with a hurt kicker. That's how bad this Denver team is. The Chargers won without any offense, a decent defense, and a hurt kicker. That just shows how bad this Denver offense is. I don't know what else to say. Denver's got a lot to figure out. I think Nathaniel Hackett, he's a new head coach. He's a hack. He's a new coach. Maybe this scheme is still developing, but I don't know, man. I don't know what to take from this. They completely abandoned the run in the first half. You know, they ran the ball like 5 fucking times, and then they threw the ball. And then they went to running the ball in the second half, but they took Melvin Gordon out.
Well, Melvin Gordon's trash.
He fumbles the ball, but I think he can give you a bunch of big plays against this run defense of the Chargers, who are bad. Their run defense is poor. They stepped up in the second half. I'll give them that. Like Austin Johnson, Sebastian Joseph Day, they stepped up. They plugged up the middle after the first quarter. First quarter was bad. It was bad all around on the Chargers defense. Offense looked bad. Everything looked bad. Chargers stepped it up, but I don't know what else to say other than this Denver team looks bad.
Yeah, I mean, I would just be what's it called? What's the analogy?
Flogging a dead horse? Yeah,
saying the Broncos offense is bad. Like, it's obvious. Like, they have lots of problems. I will say though, the Russell Wilson made a couple plays in the first half that made it look like vintage Russell Wilson. You know, he was scrambling out to his right, he scrambled to his left. Someone got open, and you know, the scramble drill, and got open, got a big chunk play. They looked okay, like the first half. I'm not gonna lie, they looked okay, and then, like you said, fell flat on their face the second half and overtime. Yeah, I don't know what to do, what to say about this Denver Broncos team. I guess we thought they were better than they were to begin with.
On paper, they look great. They look great.
Let's be honest. Like, I mean, what has Cortland Sutton done? What has Jerry Jeudy done? Not much.
Cortland Sutton has been their most productive receiver, and he got shut down tonight. I mean, J.C. Jackson did something, but, you know, it was mostly Michael Davis. Michael Davis got brought in, and he shut him down, which was awesome. Really quick, I do want to give a shout-out to Greg Dulcich, who's a St. Francis alumni. I went to high school with him. He got Denver's only touchdown tonight. Good for him. I'm proud of him. I didn't know him too well. I knew his brother a little bit, but hey, Greg Dulcich, good for you. Went to UCLA, now on the Denver Broncos. Good touchdown. Good for you, man.
Yeah, good for you. Anyways, before I was interrupted,
my bad.
Yeah, so the Broncos suck on offense. Their defense is lights out. That's kind of why this game was such a snooze fest. But the defense can only do so much, and of course, the thing that cost them the game is special teams. So, yeah, I don't know where the Broncos are going to go from here. I will say this about Latavius Murray. I think he looked a lot better on the ground than Melvin Gordon has this whole year. And he's only played 2 games or whatever it is. He looked a lot better running the ball.
I think this is the first game he had actual snaps, because it was Boone last game with Melvin Gordon.
I'm talking about when he was on the Saints.
Got you. Okay.
Yeah, so he looks like he's found the fountain of youth, but I don't know, man. It's not looking promising for the Broncos. But on the Chargers side, they played decent. I mean, I would have liked them to be more a little bit better on offense, but they played a good defense. So I'll give them that. They ended up with the win, so good for them.
Sometimes you gotta fucking shrug through those trenches. You gotta win a sloppy battle, and I think the unsung hero of the defense is Drew Tranquil. That he had was great. He had 2 sacks on the night. He played decent in coverage, and he played the run pretty decent.
I will say this about that sack. Can we get some consistency with the roughing the passer calls? Because that was a pretty hard hit. That was a pretty hard hit, and that could have easily been called roughing the passer.
The thing that I want to say about this game is I think the refs were terrible. They threw so many penalties on both sides of the ball. That one roughing the passer they had on Justin Herbert, where the guy barely touched his head.
Yeah, that was bad.
I'm going to defend Denver here. That's BS. Not only that, they had a missed first down marker where they gave Gerald Everett the first down. Mm-hmm. He did not get the first down, but Nathaniel Hackett didn't challenge it. I don't know. The refs were flag happy in this game. They were calling every holding call they could. They were calling every PI they could. There's holding and PI on every call. Just fucking watch any game. But they called it on every single play that they wanted to. And I hate watching a game like that because it's unwatchable. It's already a defensive battle, and then you're already making it slower by calling penalties every freaking other play. It was bad. It was just bad all around. It was unwatchable. If you like watching defensive games, then I guess you got it. But I'll take a win 4-2. You know what? Sometimes, like I already said, sometimes you got to win a sloppy battle, and they won it. So good for the Chargers.
Real quick, the Broncos did. I just got this update saying that the Broncos had the most penalty yards since like the year 2000 in a Monday Night Football game. So absolutely ridiculous. Broncos, you're not riding this year. You're not riding anywhere but an early ticket home. So Monday Night Football, it's done with. Week 6 is done with, and Week 7 is here, baby.
Let's do it. So Jake, let's get into our power rankings. I'm guaranteeing we have the same number 32 team. I'm guaranteeing it. Jake, I'll let you start it off, though. Who's your number 32 team?
I got the Carolina Panthers.
Right there with you, baby. I got the Carolina Panthers at 32 as well.
Yeah, Baker was out of this game, but they actually played the Rams pretty hard the first half. I was pretty surprised. They have a decent defense. They have decent defensive players, and then they have Christian McCaffrey. Robbie Anderson got kicked out of this game. He actually got traded to the Cardinals. There's not much to say about the Panthers that hasn't been said. They're terrible. They're probably going to get what's his name from Ohio State to be their quarterback because Baker's not the answer. Neither is Sam Darnold. Neither is PJ Walker. I mean, honestly, they probably could go offensive line. I would do that if I was them. If they want to build this team from the ground up, they need to go line. They need to, and they have Baker, so they could roll with Baker for a couple years, but they're a bad team. They're a very bad team. But they played the Rams hard, so I mean, does that just mean the Rams aren't that good? I mean, I don't think the Rams are good.
The Rams offense is definitely struggling. I like the fact that they, in the second half specifically, they started passing the ball around to other receivers other than Cooper Kupp. I think a majority was still to Cooper Kupp, but they started giving it to Skowronek. They gave it to Allen Robinson. Higbee had one freaking target, but Henderson actually had a couple runs on the ground that looked promising. I don't know what's going on with Cam Akers. He's probably not going to be on this team much longer. I think if this Rams offense can get their offensive line situated and gel together better than they are previously, and they can get the running game going, this will be a better offense. Their defense is playing good. Jalen Ramsey looks good. Aaron Donald looks good, obviously.
Well, yeah, we're not talking about the Rams. We're talking about the Panthers.
No, I was talking about the Rams.
I know, but
I know. I just brought them up because we were talking about them. Yada yada yada. Anyway, back to the Panthers. Decent defense, like Jake already said. Offense is inept. Other than Christian McCaffrey, they're dealing with injuries at the quarterback. That's why they're down at 32. At 31, I have the Chicago Bears staying put. I have them at 31.
I got him dropping one spot, but I got the Bears at 31 as well.
Yeah, I think that if Darnell Mooney would have caught that pass in the end zone and maintained possession, they would have moved up slightly. Because, their offense didn't look as atrocious as it has. It still looked bad, don't get me wrong. But this defense is what's keeping this Bears team from being god-awful. Their offense is god-awful, but their defense is solid. Their defense is good. It's holding opponents under like 30 points a game. I think that they're averaging about 20 points a game, which is pretty good. Like, their defense is solid. Their offense is bad. Justin Fields had a good pass, which looked promising. So we'll see what they can do from there maybe in the future.
He had a good pass. He had one good pass.
He had a good touchdown pass, but other than that, like, Khalil Herbert looks good. Maybe they could trade David Montgomery, get some draft capital out of that. I don't know. This is a team that's in rebuild. Chicago's not going anywhere. Unfortunately, if you're a Chicago fan, we said this at the beginning of our season. We just weren't high on them, and this is why. This offense is inept. So, Chicago at 31 for me. Jake, you have them at 31 as well. Did you have anything to add?
No, they're just poo-poo on a platter. They need to get Justin Fields help fast, or he's going to be quickly labeled a bust. But it's not. I don't think it's his fault. It's just a very bad team that he's on. But at 30, I got the Commanders moving up one spot.
Dude, we have the same first three teams. I have the Commanders at 30 as well. First time Jake and I have had the same first three picks. I like it.
We might have the first several picks because there was a lot of buys this week. So I don't know how you did your buys, but
I kept my buy teams exactly where they were. I'm just going to give you a future insight.
Yeah, I would have done that, but there was a lot of lower tier teams upsets, so I had to drop them.
I wanted to, I just couldn't. We'll get into that, but so Washington at 30.
Yeah,
did you
so
say anything?
Yeah, I'll say some stuff. Again, they have weapons on this team. I just don't think they know how to piece things together. Like, they should have a good defense, but they don't. Like, their entire defensive line, once Chase Young is back, are first-round picks, and they're all good. So they should be able to – they do get pressure, but, the defense is, not that great. And then their offense, they have weapons. Like, Terry McLaurin is a threat. He just got paid. Curtis Samuel is a threat. Antonio Gibson is a threat if they use them. Brian Robinson, I've liked what I've seen so far. I'm not going to call him a threat because he's a rookie and, he's coming off the injury and all, but he potentially can be a threat. And unfortunately for the Commanders, they did lose Carson Wentz for 6 weeks. So they're going to be rolling with Taylor Heineke. And honestly, I thought this team looked better with I think this team looked better with Taylor Heineke last year than they do with Carson Wentz this year. So maybe they can maybe it's way things work. For example, Case Keenum with the Vikings looked a lot better with the Vikings than Kirk Cousins. Jimmy Garoppolo with the 49ers looks a lot better with the 49ers than Trey Lance. Like, sometimes it's just certain players mesh together easier, and the gelling of that team just works better. But I don't know. For now, they're still going to be at 30, and I think this is like the true. Now that it's the 6th week in the NFL, I think this is the first, second, and third picks. Actually, my next team will probably be like any one of these teams can compete for the first overall pick in next year's draft.
Okay. Well, I agree with everything that you said. I think Taylor Heineke could actually build morale around this team. I don't know. I'm not putting it all on Carson Wentz, but he did have an atrocious game against Chicago this last Thursday night. Washington's just not a good team. So I'm going to go on to 29. 29, I have Detroit Lions. I have them staying put for me. They had the bye. I had them at 29 last week. I can't move them up or down. I wanted to based off of how poorly teams played, but just because they didn't play, I don't feel it's within my right state of mind to move them up or down. So I have them staying put at 29. I want to see what they do next week off of the bye, how they play and respond after a couple hard losses.
Yeah, 29, I got the Texans staying put. They didn't have a bye, but like I said,
they had a bye.
I'm sorry, they had a bye, so they just stayed put. This is the only team that had a bye that stayed put, because unfortunately, some of the bottom tier teams had upsets, so I just had to move them up, and it's just the way it worked. Unfortunately for the teams that had bye, not that they give a shit. They're making millions of dollars. They're playing the sport we love, so they don't give a shit about my opinion. But the Texans, they're, like I said 30 seconds ago, the Texans, Commanders, the Bears, and the Panthers. These are all potential last place teams in the NFL. I could see any one of these teams being the first overall pick. If I had to put my money on it, I would go Panthers, but I could see the Texans. I could see the Bears. I think the least likely is the Commanders. But it's these teams are all fighting for that, tank season #1 overall pick. But yeah, I got the Texans at 29.
Perfect. Who do you have at 28?
28, I got the aforementioned Lions dropping one spot. Again, they had a bye. They did drop one spot, but it's only based on other teams, getting a good upset. I think the Lions have a lot to improve on defense, and I think they have a lot to improve on offense. They had the first couple weeks on offense, lots of firepower. They need to get healthy. But
yes, I think health is a big factor with this team. Kind of like what we've seen with San Francisco. You're missing some of your key players. It's going to affect your offense.
Yeah, I think they'll be fine, but I gotta leave them at 28. Or actually, I gotta drop them to 28. Who do you have at 28?
At 28, I have Denver. I roasted this team. I have them dropping 4 spots.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah. This offense is bad. This defense is holding them up, but how long can a defense hold you up if you can't score on the offense? They played a poor Chargers run defense, and they didn't do much on the ground. They started off hot in the first quarter and then went completely just flaccid. They just completely couldn't move the ball afterwards. I need to see more from this offense. If their offense can match what their defense is doing, they'll be a middle of the pack to a good team. But as of right now, their offense is not doing anything. And if they're not doing anything, they're going to be a bottom tier team. I have them at 28. I have them dropping 4 spots. I already had them pretty low. But,
So you have them lower than the Texans?
I do.
Jesus, that's a little bit of a reach for me. I mean, I know they're bad, but I can't put them in that bottom tier.
I can see it. I could see Houston winning that game. I really can.
Against the Broncos?
Yes, I can.
I can't see that. The Texans have not done anything on offense, and that's a good defense. Like, there's going to be some turnovers. Not that their Broncos would score a whole lot, I don't think, on offense, but I think they would definitely shut out a team like the Texans. or the Panthers or the Bears or whatever, any of those bottom tier teams. Maybe not the Lions.
They very well could. They very well could. But then again, Denver is the biggest disappointment this year.
Oh yeah, I 100% agree with that.
Paper to the field.
100% agree with that.
So I have Denver dropping 4 spots.
They were some people's Super Bowl picks.
They really were. Jake, who do you have at 28?
I already said 28. At 20.
So let me do 27 then. 27, since you mentioned them, this is where I have Houston. I have them staying put. I would have dropped them lower, but because they had the bye, I kept them put. I didn't want to move them up or down, but because Denver lost in such a heartbreak fashion, special teams screwed them. Their defense played well enough to win. Their offense couldn't do anything other than the first quarter. So Houston, I have a 27. We'll see how they respond after the bye. I don't think this is a good team, but they're scrappy. They can compete. Davis Mills can make plays here and there. This defense, I think, is performing better than expectations. So 27, Houston.
At 27, I got the Raiders dropping 2 spots. They had a bye. But they still only have 1 win, I think. Maybe 2. Did they have 2 wins?
Yeah, Raiders have 2 wins, I believe.
Okay, so they're still a 2-win team. And they're going to be without Davante Adams probably for at least the next game. Most likely, I would say. I don't know if have they said anything about the suspension or if there is going to be one?
I have not heard anything in particular. Doesn't mean that he's not going to be there, but yeah, I haven't heard anything about Davante Adams after the push.
For sure. But yeah, I got the Raiders, dropping 2 spots. Like I said earlier, they had a bye, but
the Raiders are 1-4. They've only won 1 game.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I don't feel bad for dropping them. They have 1 win.
I was wrong. They have not won 2. They've only won 1.
Yeah, so they have not meshed together. Not going to say much about the Raiders. They had a bye, so yep. I got the Raiders at 27.
Okay. Who do you have at 26?
26. I got this team dropping 2 spots. I got the Jacksonville Jaguars. At the beginning of the season, they kind of, made us think, oh, is this team turning around? The last 3 weeks, they've kind of been showing their true colors, I think, on offense at least. They still have a lot of work to do. They're still a young team. They've shown flashes, but they just lost to the Colts, who I don't have a lot of faith in the Colts at this point in the season. So, I mean, it was a last-minute touchdown for the Colts, but I mean, if we're talking about the defense,
the Colts could have kicked a field goal there regardless. But yeah, that was bad giving up that big time touchdown to Matt Ryan. I agree.
Yeah, and if we're talking about how good the Jacksonville Jaguars defense is, they got to make a stop there. So yeah, I got the Jacksonville Jags at 26, dropping 2 spots.
At 26, this is a questionable pick. I think this team could be way higher than this. I really do. I think that if they are fully healthy, this team will be better. But as of right now, because of injury, I have the New Orleans Saints at 26. I have them dropping 4 spots. They have Andy Dalton out there. They're without Chris Olave. Michael Thomas isn't out there. Alvin Kamara is. But this defense gave up a lot of points to Cincinnati, and they let Cincinnati come back in this game. I think that's the reason why I dropped them this way is you got to be able to hold the helm, basically, like when your offense is scoring points and your team's up. But yet again, they drop a game. I think when they're fully healthy, they'll be way better than this spot. But I have the Saints at 26 as of right now.
Right on. Who do you have at 25?
25, I have the Raiders. I have them staying put.
Real quick, why do you keep muting yourself every time?
Oh, because I don't want people to hear when I take a sip from my cup.
Just don't point towards the mic.
Oh, wait, what do you mean?
Let's just do like this. It's just fucking with me. It's every time you do it, it goes. But
what?
I mean, it's
a sound.
It doesn't, but it's you hear sound and then it doesn't hear it. So it's when you're you have to pop your ears.
Right.
It's kind of like the same thing. Like every time you mute it.
So what if I go like this?
Yeah, it's the same thing.
You heard something?
It's not hearing anything. It's like you know when you have to pop your ears, or
you hear something and then it just goes blank. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So at 25, I have the Raiders. I have them staying put. They were on a bye as well, so I couldn't move them up or down. All the teams that were on bye, I basically held them where they were. So Raiders at 25, they're 1-4. I think this offense is a good high-scoring offense, but we'll see where they can go from here. They had a tough loss to the Kansas City Chiefs last week, so we'll see how they can respond.
All right. At 25, I got the Browns dropping 3 spots. They got manhandled by the Patriots. Absolutely manhandled. They did nothing on offense. Nick Chubb just got shut out. Kareem Hunt shut out. He wasn't even part of this game. And like we said at the beginning of this season, this team will go only as far as Jacoby Brissett will let it. You're muted. You're muted.
I wasn't saying anything.
It looked like you said something.
Nope.
The Browns, I got them dropping 3 spots at 25. They got manhandled.
Yeah, I can see why you did. I mean, they did get manhandled. This offense looks bad. This running attack is what's basically been keeping them in contention for like a good offensive performance. And when you can't get Nick Chubb or Kareem Hunt like offensively going, Jacoby Brissett's not going to be the quarterback to win you games. So I see why you dropped them. For me, so I already gave my 25. At 24, I have Cleveland. So I have them 1 spot higher than you, but I had them dropping 3 spots in my power prediction or my power rankings for the same reason. This offense has to be able to do more. You have Donovan Peoples-Jones, you have Amari Cooper, you have Kareem Hunt, you have Nick Chubb. You have a good offense. You have a good offensive line. This defense is getting torched. I don't care what offense it is. I mean, the Chargers are one of the worst rushing attacks in the NFL, and they fucking torched this team. And then they got torched by Ramondre Stevenson. Bailey Zappi looked like a competent quarterback. And he's a 7th-round pick. He looked good. He looks like a Mac Jones in a way. And, I think that Cleveland needs to figure out things on the defensive side of the ball. I don't even know if they had Deshaun Watson, if this team would look better. I think it would look better, but this defense needs to step up. So, yeah, I have Cleveland at 24 for me.
Right on. At 24, I got moving up 4 spots. I got the Pittsburgh Steelers. Huge. Whoa! Oh, total crack in the voice right there. But they got a huge upset over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Nobody thought they would win. Huge win for them. Good for the Steelers. Unfortunately, they're going to be without Kenny Pickett, so they're going to, roll with Mitchell Trubisky again. But this team still has weapons. Like, they still got Deontay Johnson. Chase Claypool showed up. George Pickens looking like he's one of the next big-time receivers. And then they have Najee Harris. So they have weapons. I just think, I don't know, the offensive line, the defense, the quarterback play. So I don't think they're going to, win a whole lot more of these games. But, good for the Steelers. This is a big one for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't think anyone was projecting them to win this game, especially against a stout Tampa Bay defense. Tampa Bay's defense is solid, and I think the real storyline is Tampa Bay's offense. They have Mike Evans, Chris Godwin's healthy. They have Leonard Fournette, Tom Brady. Their offensive line is still beat up, but it's like they just have not looked adequate offensively. I just don't think that a lot of the teams that were favored had good offensive production this week. There was a lack of offense from a lot of the teams that were favored, and Tampa Bay was one of them. They very well should have won this game. I know it was in Pittsburgh, but Tom Brady's got to do better. I mean, he was on the sideline shouting at his offensive line, his offensive teammates. You got to do better. I'm getting beat by Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett's going to bang my wife Giselle as well if we don't win this game.
Yep. Who do you got at 24?
24, I had Cleveland. So 23, I have Pittsburgh. I have them one spot higher than you. Pittsburgh, I have them moving up 3 spots. It's a good win. I don't know how much I'm going to take away from this game just because of how well they played prior. But, this defense, I think, is the storyline. Pittsburgh's defense stepped up. Pittsburgh defense looked great, and they were down 3 cornerbacks, I'm pretty sure. And they held this Tampa Bay offense, and they did enough offensively. Mitchell Trubisky came in. He stepped up when he needed to because Kenny Pickett got hurt. A win's a win. I don't know how much I'm going to put in my faith into this team, but, they got to win. So, yeah, I have them at 23.
At 23, I got the Arizona Cardinals dropping 4 spots. I mean, I've been shitting on the Cardinals all year, and they've given me every right to shit on them. They haven't looked good at all. They definitely didn't look. I think this Seahawks game was their worst game of the year. They made literally the worst defense in the NFL look competent. Kyler looks terrible. Drops. The defense looked okay. They made some stops, but the offense, man, it just looks terrible. They're badly missing D-Hop. Luckily for them, they get D-Hop back this week. But unfortunately for them, they're going to be without Hollywood Brown. So it's not like they're going to be able to see their full capabilities on this offense. I think they'll be slightly better with D-Hop just because he's such a good wide receiver. But, I mean, D-Hop can get locked up by a good wide receiver. Like, if you put him up against Pat Surtain or, I don't know, another good cornerback, I think he can – he's older in age. He's been injury-prone the last couple of years. So, I mean, I love D-Hop, but I just don't know if he's the complete answer for this team. But, yeah, I got the Cardinals dropping 4 spots at 23.
Okay. Who do you have at 22?
And disclaimer, these – with 23, 22, and 21, these are all teams that have – I think these are all very disappointing teams so far this year. And they all are kind of similar to the way I see it. So at 22, I got the Denver Broncos dropping 6 spots. Same thing as the Cardinals. Terrible offense. They have a very good defense. That's why I'm not dropping them. I'm not just completely shitting on them, not completely dunking on them like Dane does.
A little biased.
Yeah, see, it was a little bit of reach. I know he's wearing the Chargers jersey over there, but I can't. They have the 3rd ranked defense. I mean, I don't know. After this week, they might have the 1st or the 2nd, because the 49ers definitely dropped after this last game. But coming into this week, they had the 3rd ranked defense. And they're playing lights out. That defense is playing lights out. And if you're a defensive player on that team, you're going up to Russell Wilson and punching him in the fucking nuts. You're going to tell him, you're going up to the offense, you're going up to the coach telling them, hey, you need to get your shit together because we're supposed to be a Super Bowl caliber team, and you guys are flushing it down the toilet for us. That defense is legit. Let's not get it twisted. But that offense is the opposite of legit. It's poo-poo on a platter. Very disappointing. Very disappointing. So, yeah, I got the Broncos at 22.
All right. At 22, this is where I have Jacksonville. I have Jacksonville dropping 5 spots. I think Jacksonville's kind of showing their true colors. I think that Jacksonville's team is kind of right where they should be. They're 2-4 right now. Their offense and defense both looked better than they did in the first couple games. And recently, their offense and defense hasn't been performing up to expectation. They let Indianapolis, who was terrible on offense every single game prior to this, a team that they shut out the first time they played just a couple weeks ago, let score over 30 points. So, I don't know. I don't know if it's necessarily because that they're inexperienced or if it's coaching or what it is. I think it's a combination of everything. I think Doug Peterson's a good coach. I just think that, it's kind of leveling out. This is what we expected. They're finally being who we expected them to be. I think they overreached and overexpected the first couple weeks. Not saying that they can't turn it around. I think that they definitely can. They have talent everywhere on the offense and defensive side of the ball. But right now they're not playing good ball. They've lost a couple in a row. So, yeah, I have Jacksonville down here at 22.
I think what's wrong with the Jags is they're young, inexperienced, like you said, and I think it's lack of talent. Like, they have players on their team that are 2s and 3s on every other team. Like Christian Kirk, he's been a 2 and a 3 his entire career, and now he's a 1. James Robinson, Travis Etienne. I mean, Travis Etienne has been stepping up, but James Robinson, you put him on any other team, he's a 2nd or 3rd running back. And then Evan Ingram, he hasn't done anything his entire career.
Yeah, Evan Ingram's useless. I think James Robinson could be a 1 for some teams, honestly. Like, he has talent. He does have talent.
I mean, he's good. I just don't. I think they're lacking star power. I mean, they have Trevor Lawrence, but he's still a young quarterback. He's still getting it together. I think they need like for example, like if they would have like magically gone in time and gotten and traded for DeAndre Hopkins when he was leaving Texans, dude, that would have been magical for Trevor Lawrence. That's what they need. They need a high profile player. They need a I don't know, like an OBJ. Not saying OBJs would be their answer, but like a high name profile player. I think that could turn that team, that could like make that team dangerous. So I think that's personally what I think is their problem. I think they have good young players that they can build around, but I think next year they need to expand by getting a high profile player.
But no, I agree. I agree 100%.
Sorry, went on a little tangent there, folks.
You're good.
We are going slow. It's at 40 minutes, and we are at 21. All right, 21. I got the Colts. Just like the two teams before them, the Broncos and the Cardinals. Pretty disappointing, I would say. Up until this last week, I got the Colts moving up 2 spots, by the way. But up until this week against the Jags, they've just been, I mean, they got a win against Denver, but it was an ugly win. They looked terrible on that field, but again, it could have been due to the Broncos defense. But every week before that, the offensive line looks atrocious. Jonathan Taylor's been hurt, but even when he was healthy, he didn't look good. Michael Pittman, some flashes, but he's not really like living up to the hype, I think. And then Matt Ryan is definitely not living up to the hype. But I mean, they won 2 in a row. They're like at first. I think they're first in the division or tied for first.
I think they're slightly behind Tennessee because they have the tie.
That's right. But yeah, I mean, maybe they can get this going because they should be a playoff team. But yeah, I mean, sometimes all you need is the win. Winning fixes everything. So I got the Colts at 21.
All right, at 21, this is where I have Arizona. I have them dropping 3 spots. Offense looked bad. Just point blank, they could not move the ball. They looked bad everywhere offensively. Defense stepped up. Byron Murphy is locking down number 1 wide receivers in every week. I don't care who it is. Byron Murphy is the defensive cornerback star that the Arizona Cardinals need. Isaiah Simmons needs to stay on the field. They need to utilize him more appropriately. But other than that, like, this offense isn't doing anything. Kyler Murray got sacked a bunch against Seattle. He's running negative yards. I know he had 100 yards rushing, don't get me wrong. But when he rolls out, sometimes he runs negative yards. He needs to have more positive plays under pressure. I think this offense just needs to do a lot more. The offense was bad. If they can get D-Hop back, well, they're getting D-Hop back, but if they can utilize him and D-Hop comes and makes an immediate impact, possibly this team could be better than middle of the pack, but I have them down here at 21. At 20, this is where I have Seattle. Seattle, I have moving up 6 spots. I like what I see. I think they're better than Arizona as of right now. Geno Smith didn't have a great performance. Arizona's defense, I think that's a testament to them. Arizona's defense has been playing well. But Seattle's defense, who was terrible, absolutely terrible against the run, shut down Arizona's run game. Seattle's scrappy. Seattle can beat anyone and lose to anybody. That's how I feel about them. They're scrappy. They can put up points. They can have defensive stops when they need to. I like what I see. I think that they'll be better than 20 by the end of the year, but we'll see. I have them at 20.
Right on. At 20, I have the New Orleans Saints dropping 3 spots. It was a tough game against the Bengals, but they still lost. Like you said earlier, they let the Bengals come back. I still believe in that defense. I still think they have a good defense. It's just they need to get healthy on offense. They have quite a bit of weapons, I think. I mean, now that hopefully they can just use what the hell is his name? Taysom Hill all the time. Once Chris Olave comes back, Michael Thomas, Jameis Winston. I think Alvin Kamara is finally getting going, so that's good. But yeah, I got them at 20. So not much more to say about the Saints. At 19, I got the Miami Dolphins dropping 5 spots.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, health is wealth. And they're pretty beat up. I don't know. I don't believe in the Dolphins right now like I did earlier. Like at one point, the Dolphins were, I think, my number 5 team.
They were 3-0 at one point, and then they lost 3 straight. So yeah.
I mean, they handed the Bills their only loss. So, I had a lot of faith in the Dolphins, but right now they just need to get better. I don't think they'll stay this low. Honestly, I do not. I think this is still a playoff team. But that's if they can get healthy. So, yeah, I got the Miami Dolphins dropping 5 spots to 19.
At 19, this is where I have Atlanta. I have them moving up 4 spots. I think it was a great win against San Francisco, given it was a beat-up San Francisco team. San Francisco had so many injuries. They were playing against second and third strings all over the place. But, they still look good. This is a scrappy team. This is like a Seattle team. I view Atlanta and Seattle exactly the same. They're scrappy. They can beat anyone. They can lose to anyone. This offense will put up points. This defense can make stops when it needs to. I think Marcus Mariota is playing out of his mind compared to how he's been in the past, like you've mentioned in past episodes. So, yeah, I like this Atlanta team. I think they're scrappy. I think they could do well. At 18, this is where I have Indianapolis. I have Indianapolis moving up 2 spots. I think it was a good win. Granted, it was against the Jacksonville Jaguars, who they played a couple weeks ago. Jacksonville's not looking too hot. But, I think in Indianapolis, they finally scored over 30 points. Matt Ryan looked good. Maybe they're finally getting the offensive pieces where they need to. Maybe they're finally understanding that Alec Pierce is a offensive weapon. They have Michael Pittman, and they're about to get Jonathan Taylor back. So I think this offense might actually be putting up points in the future. So I have Indianapolis here at 18.
All right, at 18, bum, bum, bum. Any guesses?
Ooh. Green Bay.
Oh, right on the money, baby. Right on the money. Let's go! Oh, I got the Green Bay Packers dropping 5 spots. What can I say about this team? They have looked terrible these last 2 weeks. Just absolutely terrible. And I don't mind shitting on the Packers. Can't stand them. Aaron Rodgers looks bad. AJ Dillon, who the heck is that? Why? Aaron Jones is probably their only good player on that offense, and he didn't show up really that this last week. And then that defense, the defense is good. I'll say that the defense is good, but I'm dropping them so much because they just lost 2 really bad games in a row. At one point, I think they were number 5 or number 4, and they just lost to the Jets and the Giants. I've moved.
Maybe they just can't play the New York teams.
Yeah, maybe, but I have no doubt they'll move up. But they looked bad the last couple weeks, so they need to get their shit together. So yeah, I got the Packers at 18, dropping 5 spots. Do I go again?
Yep.
All right, at 17, I got the New England Patriots moving up 3 spots. I said it earlier, they manhandled the Browns. Absolutely manhandled. That defense looks like a top 5 unit. And then Bailey Zappi looks like a top 10 draft pick. What can I say? Bill Belichick is the GOAT. He's got that team playing, so that's all I can say. Number 17, Patriots.
17, this is where I have Miami. I have them dropping 7 spots, mostly because of health. They've dropped 3 in a row, which is mostly because of quarterback play. They just can't have a quarterback stay on the field. So I think that when Tua comes back, this team will be higher. I think that they'll have a bounce back performance. Tyreek Hill's still doing Tyreek Hill things. This defense is adequate. I think that they still have a couple pieces that they can bring back from health. But yeah, I have Miami at 17. At 16, this might be controversial. I think that they could be higher. They could be lower in some power rankings. Maybe some people aren't believers if they're lower. But I have the New York Jets. I have them moving up 3 spots. I think it was a great win against the Packers. I still have the Packers higher because at the end of the season, I think that they'll be better. I still think the Packers are a better team. I don't know what's going on. I do not know what's going on. New York had a great performance. Defense stepped the F up.
Dominated them.
They dominated. Offense did enough. I think it was mostly because of the running attack. Breece Hall is electric. Zach Wilson only had like 115 yards, whatever it was. I think that this Jets team is middle of the pack. I think that they could be better. They're 4-2. Don't get me wrong. I still have question marks, kind of like how I did about the New York Giants last week. If the Giants won again, I told them I'd be a believer. If the New York Jets win again, I'll be a believer. If they go 5-2, I'll be a believer in you Jets fans. But right now, I have you guys at 16. Prove me wrong. Be better than I think you are. I have them moving up 3 spots.
All right. At 16, I think my biggest jump this week, moving up 10 spots. I got the Atlanta Falcons. They put the hurting on my team. Absolutely just worked them. Dominated. Like, they dominated them, I'll be honest. And I've liked them this whole year so far. We both have liked them a lot. They look good, man. They've been in every game. Even the ones they've lost, they have had a chance to win. It's just some dumb mistakes here and there, or like a dumb, BS roughing the passer call costing them the game. But the Falcons, they can run it up down your throat. They have a decent defense at this point. Marcus Mariota playing lights out for him. And they're going to get Cordell Patterson back, and they're going to be a lot better, I think. So, yeah, the Falcons, man. Don't take this team lightly. Do not. Whatever you do not take this team lightly.
I agree, 100%.
And another team you should not take lightly is my number 15 ranked team. I got the Seattle Seahawks moving up 6 spots.
Wow. Okay. I like it.
They look freaking good, man. They look good. Even in a defensive battle like last week against the Cardinals, they still look good. Yeah, they lost Rashad Penny. Boom. Who steps up? Kenneth Walker. Boom. DK Metcalf gets locked up by Byron Murphy. Who steps up? Eskridge or freaking Will Disley or whatever. Geno Smith. And then Geno Smith stepped up. He was running all over the place. Geno Smith, just like Marcus Mariota, has been playing out of his mind. Absolutely out of his mind. And I mean, it sucks that he's on the Seahawks, but I mean, I'm a Geno Smith fan. Like I've liked him when he was in college, and I like him now. And it sucks that he's a Seahawk because I can't fully root for you, but I am rooting for you because you're a cool dude and you're playing really good quarterback. And that defense, I mean, I think it was a testament to how bad the Cardinals offense was, but they stepped up. So good for the Seahawks. Not really though. Who do you got at 15, Dane?
All right, at 15, this is where I have Green Bay. I was a little bit higher on Green Bay last week. I have them dropping 6 spots in my power rankings. Offense looked atrocious. They lost at home. I know it was raining, but the Jets had to play in it too. Defense didn't look great. I just don't know what the identity is of this offense.
I don't either.
Are you going to run the ball? Are you going to pass the ball? You don't have a number 1 receiver. You stray away from Aaron Jones as the number 1 running back. You utilize A.J. Dillon this game mostly, and he couldn't get much going. I don't know, man. Like, there's so many question marks that I have about the Green Bay Packers. Is Green Bay good, or was Green Bay good because of Devontae? Is that the sole reason they were good? Because it's starting to feel like that was the main reason that this team was successful in the past. That's what it's starting to feel like.
I mean, they look at their wide receiver core. They don't have a true number one. I don't believe. Allen Lazard has been making plays here and there, but he's not Devontae Adams. He's not DeAndre Hopkins. He's not Cooper Kupp. He's a good number two.
Right.
And someone needs to step up, though, on that team.
I think this offensive line also needs to step up. Aaron Rodgers is under pressure a lot. So, I don't know. Green Bay's got a lot of question marks. I have them 15. At 14, I have another disappointing team. I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 14. I have them dropping 7 spots. That was an atrocious loss to Pittsburgh. That was bad.
I probably should have dropped them more than I did, but
we'll get into it. We'll get into it when you do. But you lose to the 1-4 Pittsburgh Steelers with Kenny Pickett and then Mitch Trubisky coming in. Down three cornerbacks with both of your top receivers in. I just think that there's so much shit on Tom Brady's plate outside of football that could be affecting his performance. And I know that I make a lot of jokes, and I'm sorry. You know, it's never fun to make fun of like family situation, especially a divorce. That's messed up. But I think it could be actually having an effect on his gameplay. You know, he might have a lot of mental shit that he's going through that could be affecting his performance. I don't know, man. Like this team just doesn't look right. Maybe Tom Brady should have stayed retired. It's starting to look like that. Maybe he is, you know, kind of past that point in his life. Yeah, you know. Go ahead.
Let me say this. Peyton Manning. I've always been a Peyton Manning fan. Loved him. Growing up, he was the sheriff, man. He was he's one of the best quarterbacks of all time. There was a point in his career when he was on the Denver Broncos where actually his last year, it was just that Denver Broncos defense carried him to a Super Bowl win. Like he was atrocious his last year in Denver. And you know, sometimes, and I think this is just what happens. Like it just falls off when it falls off. And it's unfortunate because, you know, Tom Brady's the GOAT. He's always going to be the GOAT. I mean, until someone, you know, usurps him. But I think it's falling off because he doesn't have what he had the year they won the Super Bowl. He doesn't have that offensive line. He doesn't have Gronk. He has Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and Leonard Fournette, but I think there's just some pieces missing for him. And I think he could still get it done if they got him a better offensive line, but I don't know.
I'm kind of in the same boat. It kind of reminds me of Brett Favre, you know, when he was in his later years and he went to Minnesota. You know, he can make big plays. He can take you places, but it wasn't good enough. And we'll see what happens with this Tampa Bay team. I mean, they can still respond. They're still 500. They're 3-3. It was just a bad loss. So, yeah, that's why I have them at 14.
All right. At 14, I got the New York Jets, baby, moving up 4 spots. I said it last week. I think this team could be a sneaky playoff team. You were saying it earlier. I didn't want to believe it, but you know what? I'm a believer now, man. I freaking like the Jets. I like Breece Hall a lot. I mean, Robert Saleh is my dude. That defense, and it's not just like their offense, like is okay. Like honestly, like if we're speaking honestly, their run game is good, and their defense is playing really good. I mean, they just dominated the Green Bay Packers.
Freaking Gardner.
Sauce Gardner and
if I was going to do a redraft, I might draft him number 1 overall. He is playing that lights out. Sauce Gardner looks amazing. Cornerback should not be taken number 1 overall, but he's playing at that level.
Dan, don't ever apply to be a general manager. You'll get fired in a second.
I'm just saying he is playing at that level. Like
he's very good.
Down. I don't think he's allowed over 40 yards to any receiver he's played against.
He's
Quentin
a stud.
Williams is also playing out of his freaking mind.
That's also what I wanted to say. That D line is playing really, really good.
And I think it follows Robert Saleh. Robert Saleh gets the defensive line to play well, which you saw in San Francisco.
Well, it wasn't really him. It was his defensive scheme. Chris Crockrick or whatever.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he just makes the players play better because of the scheme.
Yeah. Yeah, I got the Jets at 14. At 13, I got moving up 2 spots. I got the Los Angeles Rams.
I have the Rams at 13 as well.
Right on. It was an ugly first half, but they ended up, dominating a very bad Panthers team. If they would have lost to the Panthers, oh my goodness, I don't know what I would have done with the Los Angeles Rams. They still don't look that good to me. I mean, like for example, the 49ers, they absolutely dismantled the Panthers. They're a good team when healthy. The Rams, they did not dismantle the Panthers. I mean, they won 24-10, but it was not dominant. They were fighting for their lives. Stafford threw a pick 6. They still need to piece things together. I will say I like how someone other than Cooper Kupp got some targets. Finally. But yeah, I got the Rams at 13.
Yeah, I don't think I need to add too much more to this. I mean, the offense is still questionable at this point. The defense is playing well. Jalen Ramsey has had a couple good games in a row. But yeah, Stafford's turnover percentage is kind of alarming at this point. It seems like he's almost guaranteed to throw an interception at this point. I think maybe he can turn it down a little bit or tone it down a little bit because maybe he can pass it to other receivers and it's not as predictable. Because I feel like this offense was very predictable when they weren't passing the ball to anyone else other than Cooper Kupp. So yeah, that's why I have them at 13. At 12, I have Tennessee. I have them staying put. I had them 12 last week. They were on a bye as well, so I have them staying put. You're muted.
Yeah, I also got the Titans at 12, so I'm not going to add anything to that. At 11, I got the Cowboys moving down 1 spot. That defense was still really, really good. They played a tough Eagles team. They kind of had a slow half, the first half, but they came back and fought. And, that's signs of a good team. I think they're going to be fine once Dak Prescott comes up. I think it was just honestly like a product of the magic of Cooper Rush kind of running out. He looked pretty bad. He looked pretty bad against a good Eagles team. So I'm not going to count on Cooper Rush to, beat elite teams like that. I think he could definitely win you games against, the Commanders or, the Giants or something like that. But, yeah, I didn't want to drop the Cowboys too much because they still have an elite defense.
Okay. At 11, I have New England. I have them moving up 4 spots in my power rankings.
Wow.
I love what I'm seeing from this defense. I think that even with Bailey Zappi, this offense looks good. Jacoby Myers, Parker's looking good. Ramondre Stevenson. Hunter Henry even had a decent game this week. I think that Bill Belichick just knows how to work with what he's got. He doesn't draft well, but he can turn his players into good, competent players. And it's a Bill Belichick-led team. It's the New England Patriots. You're just not used to seeing them subpar. He's going to give you he's going to make players play to their potential, every single one of them. And I think that's what they're doing. They're a 500 team right now. I think they're 3-3, but they're playing well recently. And I don't know, man. I really like what I saw from Bailey Zappi. I'm just going to say, I'm not saying that he's better than Mac Jones, but I think that he could play on par with Mac Jones. I think that both of these quarterbacks could play to what you need. So yeah, I have New England Patriots at 11. At 10, I have the Chargers. I have them moving up 5 spots. I have them moving up 5 spots just because of how poorly other teams played. I don't think the Chargers played well at all. I think that this defense did enough to stay alive. They played well from second to fourth quarter. First quarter, they looked atrocious, but this offense couldn't get anything going. I think they desperately need Keenan Allen. They need someone who can separate. There's not a single wide receiver who can get any yards of separation. It's all contested catches. Justin Herbert has to thread the needle every freaking play, and it's annoying. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the coaching. I feel like they could have gone on a couple more 4th downs instead of kicking field goals. But hey, they won. They won in a slugfest, slosh fest, whatever you want to call it. It was a sloppy contest. Chargers got the win against Denver, who's a good defense. And I have them moving up 5 spots to number 10.
At number 10, I got the Tampa Bay Bucks moving down 3 spots. Like I said earlier, I probably should have dropped them a lot more. If I'm being honest, that was just there's no excuse for losing to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Honestly, but that could be like we said, maybe it's just not it anymore for Tom Brady. Maybe he's on the decline. Maybe he's finally on the decline after 20 something years in the NFL, which is absolutely ridiculous to say. But they just look bad. I think did they get a touchdown in this game? I know they got 4 field goals.
God.
They got 1 touchdown. I think
it was Leonard Fournette, right? I think it was Leonard Fournette that got the touchdown.
Yeah. So I don't know. They just they'll probably win next week and then, not move down. It's probably going to be a back and forth year for them. So, yeah. Anyways, at number 9, I got the 49ers dropping 5 spots. I still believe in this team. I'm going to give it another week to see if the injuries are going to affect this team. If they do, they're going to be probably out of the top 14 because they're not making playoffs with, second and third stringers. They need to get healthy badly because the strength of that team is defense. And I don't think they're going to win many games when they have to put the offense, their lives in the offense's hands. They have a solid offense, but that's not how they play. They play with the lead. They run the ball, then they extend their lead. They don't play from behind. They're not good at playing from behind. So hopefully they can get healthy. I'm going to give them another week, but if not, if they get absolutely manhandled by the Chiefs next week, which highly likely, then I'm going to drop them. But yeah, I got the 49ers at 9.
Okay, at 9, this is where I have Baltimore. I have them dropping 4 spots. I think Lamar Jackson is great, but he hasn't had good performances as of late other than on the ground. I think he's missing Rashad Bateman. The defense still does a decent job, but they've lost a couple they had a tight win against Cincinnati, but they've lost a couple of their recent games other than the Cincinnati game. And I don't know. I have question marks right now about this team overall. I don't want this team to be too Lamar Jackson dependent, and that's how it feels offensively. I feel like if Lamar doesn't perform or meet expectations, this team's not going to win. And I don't want to feel that way about this team. I have them at 9. I still think that they could be great. Rashad Bateman should be coming back. So, I have them at 9. At number 8, I have
real quick. Sorry. That is exactly what the Ravens are, though. You take Lamar Jackson off that team, what are they? They don't have a good defense. They don't have a particularly good run game. They don't have particularly good wide receivers. That team is Lamar Jackson. You take them off that team, that's a bottom 10 team. That's my humble opinion.
Yep. No, I'm right there with you. At number 8, I have Dallas. I have them moving down 2 spots. I only had them moving down 2 just because of the fact that I think this defense is elite, like Jake already mentioned. They're going to be getting Dak Prescott back, so I think that this offense will see a boost in performance. Cooper Rush had his first game where he kind of seemed like a backup quarterback. He threw 3 interceptions, didn't look that great. I think this offense will take the next step forward. This running attack is looking good. Ezekiel Elliott looks good. Tony Pollard looks good. I think that if this offense with Dak Prescott taking the helm can perform or meet expectations, this team will be right back in the top 5. It's a solid team, but I have them moving down because it was a tough loss to the undefeated Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, Zeke, real quick on Zeke, he found the fountain of youth. He looks good, man. This is the best he's looked. What number were you on? Sorry, 8?
Yeah, I just did 8 for Dallas.
All right, at 8, dropping 3 spots, I got the Baltimore Ravens. Like I just said, they played a tough Giants team, who we both haven't mentioned yet. Wink, wink. But they played a tough Giants team, and like I said, you take Lamar Jackson off that team, or if Lamar Jackson has a bad game, there goes the game. It's all on his hands. They don't have a good rushing attack where they can just, run the ball with, Kenyon Drake. I think he had actually a pretty good game.
Kenyon Drake had a good game, which is insane.
Yeah. But I mean, usually the strength of a Baltimore team is their defense. They're historically good defensive team, but not these last couple of years. So they need to get it together. And this is my problem. Like, I love Lamar Jackson, but this is my problem with Lamar Jackson. He has games where he's just like the running isn't working. He's not accurate, and then it's just like I don't know. I love Lamar Jackson. Don't get me wrong, but he just has games like this. And it happens a lot. But at 7, I got the Monday night winners. I got the San Diego. It should be the San Diego. I got the Los Angeles Chargers moving up 2 spots. Ugly win, very very ugly win, but they can't all be pretty. You can't all have blowouts, and they beat a really good defensive team. I would like the offense to be more high-powered. I really would. And then, I mean, at this point in the season, for the defense to turn it around, we're 7 weeks in. We're like 1/3 of the way done with this season. For the odds of it could. I think it's more likely for a defensive team to do it, or I don't know. I think they have too many stars on that defense to not make it click. So they need to get it together because they have firepower on that defense. But I got the Chargers at 7.
Yeah, I just want to add, when you talk about the Chargers defense, I think it'll look different when Joey Bosa's back. Because, in the first couple weeks with Joey Bosa, the defense looked better, especially against the Raiders and the Chiefs. Jacksonville, obviously, not great.
Good point.
Joey Bosa goes out. It just sucks thinking that this team is so dependent on one player to turn the scheme around. But they had a good performance. They were down to their 3rd string center tonight. There's a lot of things. Chargers are dealing with injuries like the 49ers. Not as many, I will say, but they are missing key players in positions. But I'm happy that you're higher on the Chargers than I am. At number 7, I have Cincinnati. I have them moving up 4 spots. I think
It's because I believe in Justin Herbert, and I'm secretly in love with him. But sorry to interrupt.
I think they need a receiver though, bad. But
they need Keenan. They definitely need Keenan.
They need Keenan for sure. But at number 7, I have Cincinnati. It was a good, hard-fought win, high-scoring win. Jamar Chase, baby. This was the performance that the Cincinnati Bengals needed from him. 2 touchdowns, over 100 yards. Joe Burrow had a good game because of Jamar Chase. This defense stepped up when they needed to. Only 10 pressures allowed by the offensive line. Stepped in the right direction. Cincinnati's a good team. And they've had some ugly wins. They've had some ugly losses. But they were in the AFC Championship game for a reason. I think that they're going to have a good rest of the season. We'll see how well they do leading up or coming up. So, Cincinnati at 7. Number 6. This is where I have the 49ers. I only have them dropping 2 spots. They are banged the F up. This team is demolished with injuries.
Yes, they are.
I still think that they're a top team. I think this defense can make it work with a week notice of who's going to be playing on the defensive side of the ball. Obviously, without star players, without defensive players, it's going to be harder, but I think that this coaching staff can turn everything around. I still think they're a top unit. We'll see how they do against Kansas City. Obviously, if they lose, they'll drop a little bit, but Kansas City is one of the top teams. So I'm not going to drop them too hard. I'm not going to be too penalizing of them, but if they keep getting injuries, this team will drop because you can't sustain that many injuries and still be successful in the NFL. Health is wealth, like Jake has said many times. So at 6, I have San Francisco.
Right on. Sorry, doing something.
I like how we're higher on each other's teams. We're more critical for our own team.
Yeah, we're our own worst enemy. I'm my own worst enemy. I've given. All right. right.
All right, Chester.
All right. R.I.P. baby. All right. What are we on? 6? Yep. All right, 6. This is where I got the Cincinnati Bengals. Hard fought battle against the Saints. That's a hard defense. I still believe in that Saints defense. And this is what I was kind of waiting for the Bengals. But again, they have like a really good game, and then they have a really bad one. And I think this is what I thought would happen in the beginning of the season. I thought they would just start slow, and I still think they have a chance to make playoffs. I don't think this is the Ravens division to lose anymore. I think they have too much firepower on that team to not make playoffs. But I like the Bengals, man. I really do. Not much else to say. But at number 5, moving up 6 spots, dun, 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 I got the New York Giants.
I'm at 5 as well, baby. I got the
Let's go.
number 5.
Let's go. You know
5 and
what?
1, baby. 5 and freaking 1.
5 and 1 for the number 5 ranked team. What can you say about the Giants, man? Busted all expectations. All expectations. I think, let me look where I had them. Week 1. Week 1, I had them at 31. 31, ladies and gents. So I'll be the first to admit I was dead wrong. We were dead wrong about the Seahawks.
We both were.
Dead wrong.
I was wrong about them as well.
Yes. We were dead wrong about the Seahawks, and we were dead wrong about the Giants. Brian Dable, you have turned this team around. Saquon Barkley,
got
your
his name
health.
right the first try. Good shit.
Thank you. It's been like 5 weeks. Saquon Barkley, your health is wealth, baby. You are this team's entire offense. Without you, I don't know if the Giants would be here. And then that Giants defense, you're playing really, really good. I don't know what your numbers are, but you're playing like a top 10 defense.
Oh, this defense is looking good. And not only that, I think the New York Giants are changing the narrative on how important running backs are. Saquon Barkley is kind of this offensive piece that is kind of the missing puzzle piece. That's what they needed. They needed an offensive piece that was going to change Daniel Jones. They can't rely too heavily on him. And maybe some teams like the New York Giants, they need a good running back. And Saquon is that answer right now. When he's healthy, he is elite. Saquon is literally changing this team for the better. And hopefully it changes the narrative, because running backs have been so unimportant in the last couple of years. And I think Saquon may be changing that narrative for future drafts. And I'm not saying that they're going to be a bunch of first-round running back draft picks. Don't get me wrong. I don't think that they're that important yet. But I think that they are changing the narrative, because if you have a good offensive running back, you can change this offense. And that's what Saquon is. So, yeah, I have them at 5 as well. At 4, did you have anything else to add, Jake?
Nah, I don't think there'll ever be another number 2 running back taken. At least not for years. I mean,
yeah,
Saquon,
I don't think it's going to happen for a couple of years for sure.
Saquon, when he's healthy, is a generational talent. I think when he's healthy, he's easily one of the best running backs. I think we all slept on him because of the injuries, but I'm glad we slept on him because he's proven everybody wrong. But,
so happy. I'm so happy for the New York Giants. If you're a New York Giants fan, good for you guys. This team needed it so bad. Moving up to number 4, I have Kansas City. I have them dropping 1 spot. I have them dropping 1 spot because it was a tough loss to the number. I'm not going to give the number yet, but to one of the top teams in the AFC, if not the top team in the AFC. I have Kansas City. They're a good team. Defense is playing pretty well. Steve Spagnuolo, he's got this defense playing hard. Offense looks good, even without Tyreek Hill. Tough loss at home to Buffalo, but, team still looks good. I have them top 4.
All right, number 4, I got the Vikings moving up 2 spots. Who do they play this week? Jeez, why am I blanking on
Dolphins?
Dolphins, yes. Dolphins are, injured, but they still have a pretty decent defense. Like I said earlier in the season, they have a lot of weapons on this team. Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen showed up this week. Dalvin Cook showed up. if Kirk Cousins doesn't piss the game away, this team's going to be dangerous. But, it's really hard to believe in Kirk Cousins. But for now, I believe in the Vikings. And that defense is stepping up. These last 2 weeks, they've been stepping up.
Yeah. Yep. This defense looked good this week for sure.
Yep. So at number 3, I got the Chiefs. I just kept them there. I still think the top 3 are the top 3. Until an injury happens or until a chain of losses happens, I still think the top 3 teams are the top 3 teams. We could switch them every week. We could switch them around, Chiefs, Bills, Eagles, Chiefs, either one, depending on who loses. But I think those are the legit top 3 teams. And honestly, I don't see any team before this beating them in a playoff team, in a playoff game. The only way they could beat each other is if they play each other. Or the only way they could lose is if they play each other, like the Chiefs and the Bills. So yeah, I got the Chiefs at 3.
I like it. I'm just a little flip-flop. I have Minnesota at 3, Kansas City at 4. We're just flip-flop on them. Minnesota's 5-1. I don't think that their wins have been as pretty or as dominant in Kansas as Kansas City's have. But Minnesota's 5-1 for a reason. This is a good team. They've got offensive pieces. The only limiting factor, I think, on the offense is Kirk Cousins, especially in primetime games. I don't know what the hell it is. He just can't play in primetime. But, Minnesota's a good team. They got defense stepping up, offensive pieces all over the place. So, yeah, I have them at 3. At number 2, I have the Philadelphia Eagles staying put at number 2. They're 6-0. I get it. They're undefeated. They could very easily be number 1. I just don't think that they've looked as dominant as the Bills, which is obviously my number 1 because I haven't said them. But yeah, I have the Eagles at 2. Solid team. They're just not making mistakes. I think that's what separates them from the other teams is like they don't win as dominantly as say like the Chiefs or the Bills, but they don't make any mistakes. If you play the Eagles, you can't make any mistakes because they're not going to make mistakes. Defense looks good. Offense looks good in the first half. They need to step it up in the second half. I don't know what happens if teams make adjustments and they just can't, play to that factor. But they got to figure out in the second half. They eventually get it going for at least one touchdown drive. I feel like that's the kind of correlation that's been going on with the most recent games. But yeah, I have them at number 2, and then obviously I said Bills 1. Sorry, I kind of took 3, but there it is.
Yeah. Anyways, at 2, I got the Bills. At 1, I got the Eagles. They're 6-0. I can't put any team before them. They're 6-0, and even though the Bills, I think, are a better team, record. This is where record comes into play, I guess, because it's just such a slight margin, slight differences of. Like I said, you could switch like the last place teams, the last four teams. You could interchange those. You could probably interchange these top 3 teams as well. The only thing I will say that scares me about the Eagles, like you just said, is the second half performance. They do tend to die. I don't think if they play, an Bills or a Chiefs team, they're going to be able to do that and win. So they need to figure that out. But other than that, the Bills look great. They had a great win against the Chiefs, hard-fought battle. And the Eagles had a hard-fought battle against the Cowboys. So, good for these teams for staying in the top 3 again.
Yeah. Well, guys, that's going to do it for our Week 7 power rankings. We hope that you guys enjoyed it. If you're not already, give us a follow on our Instagram at Cannonballs with a Z_podcast. Keep following. We're going to keep putting out content. Jake, do you have anything to add?
Yep. Like, comment, subscribe, tell your friends about us. If you like football, if you like the way we talk, if you don't, let us know.
Fuck you. Sorry. I thought that's what we were going to say.
if you don't, fuck you and let us know. Talk some shit. We like talking shit. It's fun for us. If you don't like our power rankings, say something about it. Message us. I don't care. Dane doesn't care. It won't hurt our feelings.
No.
Made out of stone, baby. Yeah. So, anyways, thanks for listening.
And ones that cry.
Anyways, as always, thanks for listening and peace.